Hello, this is Crossing the Color Line. I'm Pat Barrett. This is my wife, Letha Barrett. And we want to remind everyone, of course, to subscribe. And our director has just given us the news that we have more subscribers. That's great. Also, like. Let people know you like us. And then
make comments.
You want to, make comments. We love that. Really helps us guide us. We do have a topic tonight. However, we had one last week, which Letha was talking about. Sort of the reactions that she gets from white women when they're with black men, and black men when they're with white women.
Not just I get.
Can I just finish?
Okay.
Thank you. And from black men generally, certain attitudes black men have that she sees. Okay.
Toward black women.
Toward black women, and I have a story about that. But go ahead. What were you saying?
And when he said that I get, I think last week I mentioned that I've had. I and some of my black friends have done unscientific studies, but we've kind of followed this with some of the things about how black men react to black women with white women, and how white women react to black women when they are with black men. And it just happened to me a couple of days ago again, where this black guy, he's with this white lady, and it's just like, I'm not there. But however, many white men now, and in the past, I've never had problems with attracting men. But, of any color. But I've noticed that a lot of white men, black women, listen, if you don't want to be at home by yourself, then you need to begin to open your vision to look at other men. Okay? And that's all I'm going to say right now. But Pat's going to tell his story about what happened.
Well, this is the whole point of this channel is to take these issues, which we have. And Letha's got a good one tonight that's in the news. Big league, if that gives you a hint. But this isn't something that happened. She said how little attitude she got the other day. And this is something that happened. Okay, it takes a little while. You got to pay attention. A few years back, we went to a graduation at a place called the University of Phoenix Stadium. It's a huge stadium with a monster parking lot, and the parking lot is the issue. A great big parking lot. So my wife and I took our two grandboys with us to the graduation that was going on, and we had to leave early. We came out and realized we had stupidly forgotten where we put the car in this huge parking lot, thousands of cars in there. Oh boy. So we split up. She took the little one, I took the big one, and we split off. Well, the big boy said, Grandpa, I think it's on the other side of that fence. Sure enough, we went around, there it was. So I got in it, and I figured, okay, I'm going to drive around the parking lot looking for my wife. So I drove down the lane to the end. Well, there was a service vehicle and a parking lot attendant or guard there. He had a lot of authority, let me tell you, because when I tried to make a turn into the parking lot to keep looking, he said, no, you can't do that. You got to go out. You got to leave. No, I can't leave. My wife is walking around looking for the car. He said, no, you got to go. You got to go. No, I'm not going to go. Okay. So he said, well, you can't go there. You got to go out. What he didn't tell me, I found out later, he meant go out into the street and come back around through the entrance. And I could have, but he didn't say that. He just said, you have to leave. So I turned around and went back down this lane. Now, this is this huge parking lot, so it's way down there. I got to the end of the lane. There are these two big bollards, those orange things that they put up to block traffic. And I said, oh, crap. I'm not going to let these stop me. And I had an SUV. It was kind of big. And I tried to squeeze between those bollards. Well, the traffic light police came roaring out. "No, you can't do that. You can't do that. You got to." Darn. So I backed up, turned around, went back down, and there was the the cop, the parking lot cop. And I told him, my wife is okay. We'll look for your wife. We'll send someone to look for her. Oh, okay. And I believe what he said was, "What is she wearing?" I said, "Okay, well, she's wearing a polka dot dress. Polka dot dress. And she has a little boy with her." He said, "Okay, we'll send someone out for her." So they sent someone out, going around. Time goes by. It's hot. This is Phoenix, you know. I'm getting in the car and I drive some more where I could. And I came back. Still no wife.
Meanwhile, they'd been passing me.
Yeah, later, well, this gets into it. They'd been passing her any number of times, right? So, they had changed shift. Now, notice I didn't say what color the guy was that I was talking to originally. He was a white guy. The new guy's a black guy. And I come out and say, "You know, my wife is there. She's wandering around looking for this car. It's hot. She's going to be really pissed off and everything." He said, "Oh, no, I know. But we're looking for her. We'll find her. But she'll be okay. She'll be fine." I said, "No, listen, you don't understand. She's going to be really mad and blah, blah, blah." And he said, No. So we spent the next, I don't know how many minutes, him trying to persuade me that my wife would be very calm and okay with this and, you know, no problems, right? I said, "No, she will be unhappy about this." And, you know, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking why she'll be unhappy, but I'll get to that at the end. So eventually, this flatbed truck pulls up. And I said, "Oh, there she is." And he said, "Oh, there, you'll see." She opens the door and she steps out, and he looks at her, and he says, "Oh, she black. You in trouble." That's an attitude, okay?
Another stereotype by
well,
a black man.
Yes, and you can see why my wife isn't happy about this story. But it's true. That's what he did. That is what he said. That was his attitude. As soon as he saw she was black, all that, "Oh, she'll be fine," went away, and oh my God, you're in trouble. So, here's the thing, though, as she pointed out, I didn't say she was black. Why would you have to say, I mean, half the people at the damn stadium were black. Why would you have to say she's black when she has a polka dot dress and she's walking around with a little boy? How hard? They passed her by any number of times. When they finally stopped for her, you know, someone probably said, "Well, is she black?" "Well, I don't know. She might be, you know." They finally decided to stop for her. I mean, it's funny, but at the same time, there's some deep things going on there. Why would they assume that she's white? I mean, assume to the point. Now, I don't mean just, well, as a white guy, his wife's probably black, white. That's okay. But to pass a woman in a polka dot dress with a little boy several times because she's black, the guy's white. I'm sure the original guy on the radio said, "You black? No, she's white. You know, you're looking for, where's the white woman? Where's the white woman? You know." And then the attitude of the black guy. "Oh, she's black? Oh, she's going to raise hell with you." You know, I mean, all of these things we can explore. But that is that's an instantiation. That's my new word. I love that word. I can't even say it. Instantiation of this attitude that Letha was talking about last time. But then all of that has been eclipsed by our president.
Well, yeah, as he eclipses most things, this now, because he likes attention, as everyone is saying. And when I saw him, and I could only watch him about 3 seconds, when I saw him walking around that stage in Alabama, I thought, what a buffoon, you know, and he is president of the United States because the people who say they're not racist put him in there. But as Ta-Nehisi Coates writes in his article in The Atlantic, if you voted for him, then you are complicit.
Absolutely.
Because what we see Trump doing now is nothing that he didn't do. He showed you who he was, and you, white women, voted for him anyway to save unborn children? What about the children that are already here? What about us older people that are already here? Because what Trump is doing is ruining the United States all around the world, and he might get a whole lot of Americans killed by dealing with someone who is just as crazy as he is. Okay? So that leads into what's happening and what Colin Kaepernick started some time ago. And my daughter and I were just discussing why there have not been more NFL players who have supported him until Donald Trump called them sons of bitches, and now they're supporting him. And I hope every NFL player, not just black, all NFL players and their owners ought to be behind what Colin Kaepernick has started. And what I'm going to talk about is it's not the national anthem. If I feel, and by the way, I do feel that the national anthem and the flag salute, I don't have justice for all. Okay? I don't have it. And with white policemen and some, well, we don't know what's going to happen to the black policeman that he'll probably get sent up the river because he's black. But what we see going on with policemen killing African Americans, and I think I read some time ago that black men are being killed at the same rate that they were hung in the past,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
that they were lynched in the past. So we haven't moved very far. It's just a different form of killing.
And I'm going to interrupt if I may, okay? If I'll try not too much, but here's the thing, right? What Letha said, in listening to these conservatives on the TV and reading some of the stuff in the columns, newspaper columns, what they will take and say, oh, you're saying all policemen are the... No, Letha never said that.
No.
But let's be a little more specific. There are a handful, a small number of police officers who are not only unprofessional, they're criminal. All right?
And some belong to the Klan.
Oh, absolutely.
And some are white supremacists.
Oh, absolutely.
Etc., etc. And you need to weed them out.
Well, here's the issue, though, getting to weeding them out. When they do commit a crime, their fellow officers, instead of saying, hey, yeah, this is what I saw happen, blah, 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 they will cover for them. Not that they would do the same thing, but they will cover for officers. They call them rogue officers and so forth and so on. And I just want to make that clear, because when Quentin Tarantino said it, I said in an earlier episode, when he said at that rally, he was there to protest police officers who break the law, and Megyn Kelly said he was at an anti-cop rally. That is so typical of Fox News, and now that she's on NBC, I don't know if she's changed her stripes or not, but that's what you got.
But I'm going to get into some of that, but Pat led into some of the notes that I have written down here. Is what happens is many white people, they're more in the gang than are not in the gang, as is evidenced by who voted for Trump. Okay? And I'm calling many white people a gang. All right? And let me tell you why I'm saying that. And I hope I get lots of comments about this. Number one, many whites, and I don't want to just say whites, many groups, that's why you call them gangs, will not do something when they are alone, but when they're in a group, that group mentality takes over. Now, since we have more people of color that are usually the only one or one of two with many whites because whites have the powers in this country. Okay? For instance, I was an educator, and I'm talking experience. Okay? So, what happened with me is, again, this gang of teachers, and I'm calling the teachers a gang. I'm doing that. And I'm doing it deliberately because that's what I felt. They get together and they talked about me, okay? In the district, Tempe Union High School District, Mesa Unified District, and this gang of teachers and administrators. And I hope you're watching, or I hope someone is watching because I'm calling you out. The reason I say they are gang is they would say things about me. And not all of them, but the ones who didn't say things about me were my girlfriend Norma and a few of the other Hispanics that were there. But many of the people, just like with Donald Trump, were complicit in helping them to say all of these negative things that were not true about me. Educators know who what's the organization that comes in and evaluates the district?
North Central.
North Central. This one psychologist, Ingrid Swinson, I'm calling you out, honey, and she had gone to school with my husband at Camelback. Racist that she was. There were 25 African American kids at Marcus Denisa High School when I started. What she spread, and some of the other white teachers about me, was that I only saw black kids. Now, if there were only 25 black kids at Marcus Denisa High School and I was only seeing the black kids, I'm not the fool. They are, if that was what was going on. But I guarantee you can call people today, many white kids at Marcus Denisa, they know who I am. But Ingrid Swinson, they don't know who you are or were. But what happened with North Central is some of the white people, again, this part of this gang of whites, they came in and said to me, well, I've been told that you only work with black kids. I've been told. So see, again, that gang mentality and having the power, and this is what racism is. And Dr. Fitzgerald, you were one of the biggest bigots around. And I know that you told Dwayne Brimhall that I let my race get in the way. And to Dwayne Brimhall's credit, he did not listen to a racist like you. So when I say a gang, number one, these teachers would not say these things to my face. Okay? And that's the way many bullies, just like our president, he went back and tweeted something today after he'd been interviewed live. And then he went back and tweeted something that was very opposite. And that's what many gang people in groups do.
Can I break in here for
yes.
a second? If I may? You know, I want to relate this. First of all, I'm very, very familiar with all of this. And my wife and I mean, we've been through hell with this particular issue. There's a couple of things I want to point out. For those of you that are familiar with the East Valley of the Phoenix metropolitan area, we went to many, many different organizations over this 10-year period that we would now call it harassment, racial harassment.
Racial harassment.
Back then, this was in the 90s.
Discrimination.
It's certainly discrimination.
Right.
So we went to these various organizations, many of them over in Phoenix. And one of the things they would say is, oh yeah, the East Valley, yeah, those Mormons, those Mormons, because the Mormon Church had a very terrible doctrine up until 1978 that discriminated against blacks and so forth. But we would stop them in their tracks and say, look, we've identified about 20 people. These are talking about this gang. There's about 20 people we identified that were going around, including principals that would go to another school.
Yes.
And a secretary would say, oh, didn't you know that so-and-so came? I'm not going to use names like she is. But, you know, came over. Oh, really? Why? What's going on there? And then the next thing, she gets a hammer on something that she had been praised for earlier. All right? So, I mean, the evidence is very, very clear. Out of those 20 people, 2 were LDS, Mormon. The rest were whatever. Okay? So, no, don't go there with the Mormon thing. The other thing I wanted to relate
and if it hadn't been for Dwayne Brimhall,
who's
the
very
Mormon, I would not have been hired in Mesa.
Yes.
Okay, so let's make that clear.
Yeah, and if you know anything about the East Valley, you know the name Brimhall. But the other thing, Katie Tour has a new book out, and we're going to get it. And she has been on TV a few times talking about it and pointed out these people at these rallies, Trump rallies, that are screaming not just to jail Hillary Clinton, but to hang her, to kill her, and calling the reporter, the female reporters, the C word. Joshua, can we say the C word on YouTube? Yes, cunt, okay? Calling them to their face. You interview them outside the rally, they're perfectly nice people. But they put them in that crowd. Well, you know, that's the psychology of it. You put those very same people in a mob, like a Trump rally, and what does it make you think of? Nuremberg, you know, and Leni Riefenstahl, the great pageants with the Nazi flags everywhere. And what happens to people's brains, something happens to their mind. And this stuff,
and as I said,
it did happen.
It's not just white people. It's just that in this country, minorities have to deal with white people. Few times do whites have to deal with mobs of Hispanics or mobs of blacks or mobs of Muslims, you know, or mobs of women, for heaven's sake. But we have to interact with whites, and that's why I'm talking about the gangs, because I experienced it. When I moved to the East Valley, I said I must have died and gone to hell, because many of the white teachers out here were complicit in all of the things that happened with me. Now I want to get back to since Kaepernick knelt. I didn't say the flag salute for several years in the Tempe system, Tempe Unified School District, because of the things that were happening to me from the administration and with teachers. I was I had the plague. What's the other thing that I can use? You know, but I was to be shunned.
Cooties.
Yeah, I had cooties. That's not strong enough. But they did not like what I was doing, and this was when they all came down on me. For instance, there was one instance where this black kid came in to me, and he said that there was this picture they would put in the art department. They would draw pictures and things like that. And this black kid came to me and said, Mrs. Barrett, there is a picture that's up on the window of, it was derogatory. It's been so long ago, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was derogatory toward Hispanics, I think. And this teacher had put it up. So when he came to me, I went and looked at it for myself. And so I went to the teacher and told her, do you know that that is racist? Well, of course, she went to the principal, who hated me, and told him, I don't know what she said, but I told him, I said, yeah, I want to talk to the kid that put it up. So when I called the kid in, Fitzgerald, and I'm calling his name, came into the office to make sure I was not going to intimidate this nice white boy. Okay? We get back to these nice white people who voted for Trump. Fitzgerald, you probably voted for Trump. Okay? Because you are complicit and have been in, you and Jeff Sessions, in all the things that you're doing. But I'm going to get back to, so I stopped saying the flag salute. I would not stand for the flag salute. I was just a teacher, so, and they were probably afraid to confront me because I'm this big bad black woman that they'd heard all of these things about. And they probably went to their lawyers and found out that I had a right to do that. Okay? But my daughter, now this was in the 70s that I did this, but my daughter was at Carson where I was a counselor. And we talked about how I had felt that I didn't have justice and I had nobody that I could go to who would help me get justice, because this gang of white teachers and principals were doing what they had the power to do, which to me is what racism is all about. It's using power and color and other things to discriminate against. And that's what these gang of teachers do. White teachers. Every now and then there was a Hispanic in it. At Carson, there was a Hispanic in it. But what my daughter decided to do, she was in 7th grade in 1987. And when I took her from Rhodes to Carson. And since our family discusses these issues, she decided the way she was being treated by white students, she did not feel that she could in good conscience get up and say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, one nation under God, and liberty and justice for all. She said, I don't have justice. So her teacher tried to entice her to get up and say the flag salute. And she was adamant, and she was just this little thing. She probably weighed 80 pounds. And she said no. So, of course, they came to me since I was a counselor, and I said, is she keeping anyone else from saying the flag salute? Well, no. Is she sitting quietly? Yes. And respectfully? Yes. That's her right to do so. So that was another reason that this gang of white teachers, again, decided they were going to ostracize me, and they could do it because I was one of 2 blacks there, one of 2 black teachers there, and they could do that. And this is what gangs do.
We only have, we're short on time, so can you give me a minute?
Okay, let me finish it.
Yeah.
So when I said that, they let my daughter alone. And she and I discussed this again tonight. And she said, and Mom, I'm beginning to feel that way again with everything that's going on now. And I said, well, sweetheart, not much has changed. Except I'm not there for this gang of white teachers to do what they did. But again, the administration had to go along with it. The teachers had to go along with it. So, just like with Trump, you were complicit in what you and other people did, and if you were silent, you were also complicit in it. Because many of you shunned me, and you helped to put out information that was not the truth, just like your lying president does. But anyway, white people, many white people are bullies, and they're bullies when they're in these groups or gangs. And minorities feel that. I have a niece that works in a district, and she's going through the same thing. And many, many African Americans that you talk to go through these things. You move in groups, and often if you're asked to go to predominantly black or Hispanic not Hispanics so much. Many of you feel much more comfortable with Hispanics than you do with blacks. But many times you ask, am I going to be the only one?
Right.
But it's okay for us to be the only one. Because then you can ostracize us, you can say things to us, because you have that power. So, yes, many white people, white teachers, white whatever group you're in, and if you are getting in groups and ostracizing any person,
Exactly. Yeah.
any person,
Yeah.
whether it's color, whether it's culture,
Yeah.
whatever it is, you are complicit, and you put Trump in the White House.
And that's a great segue. We have to wrap up now, but that's a great segue into what I wanted to point out. Because because I'm white, I kind of know what the objections are going to be to what she said. Okay, I can anticipate them. And one of the things you need to be aware of is that exactly what she just said. This can focus on anybody. It doesn't have to be a minority. But a minority knows when they're the only one, or one of very few, in a situation when the shit rolls downhill, they're the ones that are going to be at the bottom of the hill.
Right.
When there has to be layoffs, guess who's going to get picked to be laid off first, right? This is absolutely routine. Last hired, first fired. And that's an old thing, okay? Now, I would hope that next time we can continue what happened to you, because this thing about our daughter, brought on a shitstorm on her that went on for 10 years and resulted in her losing her career, losing her health, okay? And we want, again, back to the theme of crossing the color line. People said, I'm sure she's a nice lady, but you shouldn't marry her. Think about the children. Think about what'll happen. Well, you know what? God damn it, they were right. Because a whole bunch of stuff has happened that would not have happened to me had I not married a black woman. Now, I wouldn't give her up. I wouldn't give up my kids, my grandson, But there is a lot of crap that happens, and what we want to do is illustrate this from a personal viewpoint. This happened to us. I'm a white guy. I've never thought of myself as anything, but my uncle was a teamster. My dad was a hotel manager. Italian immigrant family, blah, blah, blah. But I have seen what's happened. And believe me, when my wife would come home with these stories, I would quiz her, question her, act as a devil's advocate, because, she's upset. She might kind of distort things. I checked it out. Meanwhile, I worked in that same district. So I knew some of the things that she was talking about. I know the teachers at my school who were racist as hell and open about it. Okay? So, I think it's time for us to wrap up and tell you, please like us, subscribe to us, and comment. I can say whatever you want.
Because I know I said some things that kind of upset you, and I want you to be upset. And many people get upset with me, but this has been going on, and now, there was one other figure that I wanted to read. 7 out of 10 Americans feel that racial relations are as bad as they have ever been. I've been saying that for years. And we will talk next week about why young people are just as complicit as older people. And with that, I'm going to say good night.
Good night.